God damn. Alright, so a year ago, well, it wasn't even a year ago, it was a couple of years ago, coronavirus pandemic happened, and of all of the new projects I wanted to try, one of them was making a video game. And I did not make it. Okay, did not work out. But I created a bunch of assets that have not really seen the light of day since. And I think that, in my case, making a video game was kind of therapeutic. It was like more about the journey than the destination, and I kind of got to flex my creative juices a little bit and just see what I could do. So I'm kind of wanting to go through some of the things I made now and just look at them just for the fun of it, knowing fully well that this video game will probably never see the light of day. Or if it will, it'll be, some time from now. So this first object we had, this was like, basically there was a room inside of this house, and this was the exterior of the house that I could see if I wanted to. Or I guess the player could see if they wanted to, if they were to leave the house. How do I see it? Oh. Let's see. I'm just trying to peep the front door. There you can see it through the floor pattern. That's fine. Basically, the premise of the game was that you were a young person, kind of myself, but wasn't necessarily spelled out. But you would live in this house, and you would go around, and you would collect items, which you would put under your pillow, and then you would fall asleep, and then in doing that, you would be transported to kind of a different world, like a dream world, but it was connected to what you put under your pillow exactly. So if you were to put like a keychain that was a souvenir from like another country, you might be transported to a dream which involved that country, and then you'd get to explore like a level that was based around that country or that concept. And it was like very closely related to just my living circumstances. Okay, that's enough of that. What else do we have here? I remembered I was going to make it like sort of Animal Crossing style. That's the wrong texture, by the way. This was not a brick bear. It was made with these other textures I had, which kind of looked like fur. But you can see this here as a bear, sort of like an Animal Crossing style bear. I was going to use animals to kind of stand in for people. Kind of like, have you ever read the Mouse books? I forget the author, but they're about World War II. And they also did the same thing. They kind of used people as a stand-in for animals just to make it more like allegorical, but also at the same time it's talking about some very serious things. This was the room. So when that house I first showed, you would come inside and this is where you would end up. And there's the bed in question that you would put the items under the pillow and then you would sleep in. It would bring you to the dream state. Here you can see I made like some shelves. I did some different textures. It doesn't show up as well in this program. There's another program I was using that made it look much better. But there's the chair in front of the computer. Little desktop there. I noticed earlier I was looking at this and I don't remember what on earth this poster represents, but I do know this one is the 2019 Lighthouse film, which I do love. It's a great film. But I kind of made this fun little pixel art just to represent. I'm guessing that's another film. Could be like a video game or something similar. Maybe an album. So this was, that was kind of the bedroom. That would be the hub world, right? This combined with the exterior of the house I just showed you were kind of the hub world for the main game, and then you'd go to different spots. The bear I just showed you, which was one of the characters, this is what, this is the textures that were supposed to be used on the bear. It was not originally a brick bear, but that's just how this, this Windows program interpreted it. Here, this was one of the levels I made. Let's see here. This one I made in a different program than I did with those other files I just showed you. This one, let's see, okay, so this is one of the levels. It was like a maze. Granted, you can see it standing upright when it shouldn't be. It should be lying down on its side. So just imagine that this is the ground, the earth, so to speak. You would spawn right around here, and all of the stuff around the edges was mostly decorations. But you would follow in around here, and you would enter the maze. You would actually do the maze, let's see here, at least until you could get to here. At which point, here you can see there's sort of an opening. So you'd go down there, it'd be like a little staircase. You can see from the side that this isn't, there are a couple layers of earth here, so this isn't like just one layer of ground. It's not like you would fall right through. You'd actually enter into the ground, and then you could follow this little tunnel, which just went straight up, and it would exit here, right at this hole. And this hole you couldn't get to unless you were to get through it this way, because there's this little fence surrounding it that was too high to jump over. You'd come out this hole, you would walk over this way, and there's a bit of a staircase you can see. So you jump up here, and you would come out on top of this sort of weird rickety crane type thing. It was kind of like, I made it look like a little, you know, demolished, little derelict, like it was a building crane used to build the maze. But you'd follow it down, you'd come down to about this point, and then you could drop right down into the hole, and that would end the level. There's like a little cavern kind of carved out there. So that was one level. I think that's, honestly, that might have been the only level. I think I had one or two more, but they weren't fully finished, so I didn't even save them as files. This here, you know how in video games, like, the stuff that you interact with is obviously like fully textured, but then when you look off into the distance, they might have some more areas, but since you're not meant to enter them, they're kind of like low resolution, and the textures are like pretty simple. That's what this was. So the house I showed you, that was part of the hub world, that was the very first thing I showed, would have fit over this dark green part here. That was kind of like the footprint for it. And then it would have lined up with the rest of this neighborhood, which just would have provided like something you could look off and see, but that wasn't necessarily something you were meant to actually go out and explore and interact with. Pretty cool. I don't know if I'll ever revisit this as like a concept, but it was certainly fun to gain some sort of understanding of level design, if even very briefly and very, you know, naively, but then also just to kind of explore and figure out how these programs work that I can create these 3D environments with. So it was a good time. So DOZER, that's what I nicknamed the game, DOZER, coming out probably never, but we'll see. Oh, there's some of the textures. Nice. All right, goodbye.